What up, y'all? It's DJ Switch. I'm from Portland, which is why there's a PDX on the end of my name, and you're watching Cross The Street. Welcome, everybody, to another video. It's been a minute, and you know, I've just been I've been working on some things, kind of doing some stuff behind.
What is good? I am here today with DJ Switch, world famous. Hey, how you doing, friend? Good to see you. If you watch the show enough, give everybody a gift. You requested something low calorie. I just spent $7 on 2 bottles of water.
Oh, this is the fancy water.
They got fancy water for us.
Oh, dang. Okay. All right.
That good stuff. That good stuff.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
No problem. How you been?
Actually,
yeah.
Before we get into all that, I got you something, but we're gonna save that till a little bit later in the conversation.
Okay, cool.
I got something I brought you. I think you're gonna like.
Beautiful. Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited now.
But on the real, man, I've been good. I've been man, listen, the pandemic was weird, right? Like, a lot of people don't like talking about the pandemic because, like, it was rough for a lot of folks. It was kind of like, it was rough for me in some ways, but in other ways, like, it forced me to reset a lot of things. And so I'm on YouTube now, I'm on Twitch now. I've completely overhauled my whole rig, like, for stage shows and whatnot. Like,
sweet.
Like, it's crazy how much being forced to take a year and just stay home, like, really kind of reset everything.
That's kind of what I've been asking everybody about their experience, and it seems like a lot of people have taken the opportunity to find something either to get really good at, or some people have even gone the other way and been terrible at stuff. So
I mean, you know, it's different for everybody, and I'm not out here trying to pass judgment or, like, trying to diminish anybody else's experience or whatnot. Like, I know it was like, and COVID's no joke, man. Like, yeah. I could not get vaccinated fast enough, bro. Like I was like, the minute you can stick a needle in my arm, tell me, because I'm gonna go get that shot, because I got stuff to do, right? And we still fighting with all that. But, like, my wife and I were in the process of buying a house in January of 2020. So by the time we signed the papers, it was April.
Wow. You
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we were a month into the COVID stuff, and
that must have been terrifying.
It was crazy, man. So we bought a house, and of course, buying the house means, like, all of a sudden I've got all these financial responsibilities.
Did you have a little fear in that right away? Or?
Well, let me think. I lost 8 gigs in 45 minutes when they shut down the state. So, like, there goes all my income. Bro, I've been a professional DJ for 23 years. 23 years. I started when I was 14 years old. I'm 37.
You started when you were 14 years old, and you started where? Here in town, right? Portland, Oregon?
Yeah. Well, actually, so a little bit south of here is a little town called Gladstone.
Hey,
see, I grew up in Oregon City, but I went to Gladstone High School, and I started as a freshman in high school. It was like my first week of playing in band, because I was a band nerd, you know. I was playing saxophone. And so I started out my first week, my band director comes up to me and goes, "Yo, you're good with computers, right?" And he knew, because he knew that I had grown up in a computer store. My dad opened a computer store in 1984. I grew up literally in a computer store.
In Gladstone?
In Clackamas.
In Clackamas. What was the name of that place?
So it's called Clackamas Computers. It's not there anymore, unfortunately. My dad had to shut up shop in early 2017. Right. And he was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma. We lost him in 2018.
Oh, R.I.P. Dad. Love you, friend.
I mean, you know, I appreciate it. It's definitely been rough on my family. My sister actually just got married this last Sunday, and
congrats.
And we had a an 8x10 with my dad there to kind of and I had to give her away, so that whole thing. But like, growing up in that computer store, like, really informed not only who I am, but a big chunk of my skill sets coming into playing music, and part of my decision to become a DJ, right? So here I am, 14 years old, my first week I'm a freshman in high school, right? And my band director goes, "Hey, you're good with computers, right? I want to show you how to run a soundboard." I'm like, "Okay, sure." He goes, "I don't want to do it anymore, so it's going to be you from now on." I'm like, "All right." I had no idea that he was going to quit his job the summer between my freshman and sophomore year. So cut to the first day of my sophomore year of high school. I'm 15 years old, and I'm negotiating with my principal to get a free unlimited hall pass just to run the sound gear in my school, because he literally sits across the desk from me. I'm like thinking I'm in trouble. I'm like, "I've been here one day. How am I in trouble already?" He goes, "Honestly, you're the only person, staff or student, that knows anything about this stuff. We need somebody to run the sound gear for the assemblies, or we can't do our assemblies till, like, start the year." And I was like, "Okay." He wanted to pay me minimum wage. I was like, "I don't need it was like $6.50 an hour.
So you were
at
like
the
a
time.
freshman in high school, and they were trying to pay. The school was fitting to
So
pay you.
my first day of my sophomore year, I'm 15 years old, and my principal is trying to tell me, hey, we want to pay you to be the sound guy for the school, and I'm like, I don't want your money. I don't need your $6.50 an hour for 3 hours a month. Like, I make more than that mowing lawns. Just tell my teachers what I'm doing and tell them not to harass me if I got to get out of class to go do sound stuff. And that sophomore year, I kid you not, dude, I missed one day of class that whole year.
Did you have good grades that year too?
I don't want to talk about that. Listen, I had a weird problem with grades in school because grades to me were just letters on a paper. Like, it didn't mean shit. I wanted to play music. I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to run sound and learn how to be a DJ. And I focused a lot of my energy and effort on those things. And so when it came time to, like, read The Crucible for the third time in a row, I was like, fuck this. I'm busy. I got better shit to do than read The Crucible again.
The new Biz Markie album just came out.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like, that's how it was. So, and so yeah, but that was what kind of started me down the path. And I made the decision to, like, pursue DJing more seriously before I could even drive, bro. Before I was even old enough to get a license, I made the decision. I want to have a career as a DJ and as an entertainer. And I pursued that shit because, you know, it was the perfect marriage of computers and technology, which I was in love with, I grew up with in my family, and music, which I was in love with because I picked up a saxophone when I was 10.
If your grades were anything like mine, being the button pusher and fiddler that I am, that makes a lot of sense for what DJ, sound guy, lighting, a lot of buttons, a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting for me, I guess. I'm sure it was exciting.
It's exciting, but it also makes me feel like I'm fulfilled, you know? Like when I step on stage. So one of my roles these days is I'm proud to be Mighty's DJ, right? Mighty Nation over everything.
Hey,
that's the hat.
Shout
right?
out to Mighty.
Shout out to my boy Mighty, and our drummer Dave, who isn't even really on social media anymore, but I know he's watching this shit. So what up, Dave?
No, yes, he is. He contacted me.
Oh, did he finally?
He contacted me.
That dude, like, he's
drummer,
I mean,
the drummer, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. He's always weird about, like, he's always been weird about social media, so he kind of keeps that stuff on the low.
He's gonna come on the show.
Good. You should definitely have him on.
Yeah.
I don't care what he says about me.
You hear that, Dave? Get ready.
But for real, like shout out to my boy Dave. Shout out to Mighty, who, like, reached out to me. Dave and Mighty were in a bar when I was, like, up in the corner, kind of getting ignored and just kind of practicing my cuts because nobody was paying attention. And it was a bar gig, and, like, Mighty came up one night and was like, "Yo, you can cut." And I was like, "Yeah, a little." And he goes, "Well, I need a DJ. I'm an MC, and I'm going to be doing a hip-hop show pretty soon. I need a DJ." And I was like, all right.
What year was this, roughly?
This would have been, I think, 2015.
Cool. So you've been with Mighty for quite a while.
For a minute, yeah. And so Mighty comes up. He's like, "Yo, so I need," or maybe it was 2014. I'll have to check on that. Sure. It might have been 2014. But yeah, so I'm in this bar, kind of getting ignored. Mighty comes up. He's like, "Yo, I'm an MC. I need a DJ." And, like, listen, no disrespect to the aspiring hip hop artists of Portland, but, like, when somebody comes up and says, "Yo, I'm a rapper," that can mean a lot of things, you know, a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And so, you know, being a veteran DJ that's been around for a long time, like, my first question was, "Are you any good?" Right? Like how well do you spit? Can you spit something for me?
That took about 5 seconds to clear up, right?
So Mighty's like, somebody's like, "Well, yeah." And so we go out in the parking lot. I put on, like, a long song or whatever. We go out in the parking lot. Mighty throws down a few bars. I'm like, "Okay, when's the show?"
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about any of it except that, like, Mighty and I kind of clicked, and the dude had a killer style, and I was like, "All right, I dig what you're doing. You obviously can spit. Let's go. Let's go do this show. When's the show?" He goes, "Well, it's in about 2 weeks. Have you ever heard of a guy named Rakim?" I'm like, "Have I Rakim? Like Eric B. and Rakim?
Wow.
Like your favorite MC's favorite MC, Rakim?"
So you're telling me
the God rapper Rakim?
Your first show with Mighty was...
Our first show was for Rakim.
Wow.
Our first show was opening for Rakim at the Hawthorne.
For those who don't know who Rakim is, I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to check out Rakim.
So I got my picture with Rakim that night. We got him on camera, on video, like shouting out Mighty Nation, you know. Yeah, dude was hella cool. He loved what we were doing. His manager loved what we were doing. What really kind of told me, I mean, that was fun. And like mad respect to Rakim all day long. But what really kind of told me I was in the right place was when I showed up for rehearsal. First of all, Mighty said he wanted to rehearse. And not all MCs are down for that. Like, that, not all MCs, like, are pursuing on that level. You know, like, they don't always want to rehearse. A lot of times they want to just have the DJ play the track.
Make sure my mic sounds good. I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So when Mighty says, I want to have a rehearsal, I'm like, okay, all right. So he's serious. Let's see what he's working with. So I show up to rehearsal. There's Dave with the drum kit. He's got the sound system. He's like, yo, plug in over there. We had a whole on rehearsal, and Mighty goes, all right, so I want to do a skit. And I'm like, wait, okay, so you hit me with the rehearsal. You hit me with the skit. We're going to full on go into performance mode. We're putting on a show at this point for these people that paid to see Rakim, right? And I've spent 5 minutes with the cat. And he's already talking about wanting me to act for him on stage and shit, you know? And so I think we ended up, because of time, cutting the skit at the last minute, which was a little bit of a bummer. But, like, just the idea that Mighty would throw that out there for our first show told me I was in the right place. Because here's a cat that takes it seriously, that knows what he's doing, that knows what it means to be an entertainer, and is about putting on the show above everything else.
Yeah, he's very good at that. Both of you guys are. I first saw you and Mighty work together. I've seen Mighty a couple times prior, but I think the first time I saw you guys work together was 2-3 years back at the Swiggle Mandela birthday party that we put down.
Yeah.
That was a fun little show.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun show. Cool Nuts
show.
was there that night. There was a bunch of us. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Man. Actually, that was the first time I ever saw Cool actually get on a mic.
Oh, really?
And rap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, I know Cool Nuts because, like, he's Cool Nuts, right? Like, who doesn't know Cool Nuts? Like, dude is a living legend in Portland.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I actually saw him perform on stage. And, like, I remember listening to him, and the first thing I said to Mighty was like, yo, this feels like a young, hungry Biggie. Like, I was like, this dude, like, this is taking me back to when hip-hop was hip-hop. This is as real as it gets. And I already had respect for Cool Nuts. I had even more respect after seeing him perform for the first time.
Yeah, he's dope. He always runs a good... I just saw him last week at the Bars Over Bars little thing that the Block Business put on. He killed it. There was 50, 60 people there, and he killed it like there was 8,000 of us there. So, yeah, great show.
Yeah. No, I got a lot of mad respect for him, man. Cliff, I love Uncle Cliffy. OG1.
OG1, much love.
OG1 has been nothing but dope to us, like, from the word go, man. Like,
I don't know the man very well, but every time I have approached him and asked him a question, he has always answered it gracefully and just like a true gentleman.
So OG1 and Cliff put together that thing at City Hall.
The Hip Hop Music Award, or the Hip Hop Week.
It was like Hip Hop Day or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the official title of the show was, but, like, I know that OG1 and Cliff are the reason why Mighty and I got to perform at City Hall. And I met Starchild, like, very briefly, before he passed.
I never got a chance to meet him.
And you know, what's funny is the one time I met that dude, I got a story about him.
Oh, okay.
Not that, like, I'm sure you don't want to hear that.
Sure, let's hear it. I mean, he's
like people that watch this show like Portland hip hop.
That's what it's all about, friend. That's what it's all about. And you have a story about a very founding member that's not with us anymore.
I'm teasing. Of course, I'm going to tell y'all the story. Yeah. Like, so the one time I met Starchild, we were doing a block party outside the headquarters for Wacom tablets. And anybody that's in the tech and geek communities knows Wacom makes some of the best graphics tablets technology in the world. And they have a storefront and like an office in Portland in the Pearl District. Yeah. So we blocked off this whole city block and did like a full-on hip-hop block party outside Wacom.
Wow.
And OG1 was spinning an opening set that day. And so I showed up early for sound check, setup, all that stuff. And we was having a problem with the turntables. I won't get into too much, but the short version is the people they rented the turntables from didn't take very good care of those turntables. And so when it came time to play, OG1 was having trouble with one of his decks, and the tone arm wasn't working right.
Oh, snap.
So I was like, well, I got mine in the car. Let me go grab mine. We can get this show going. As Starchild pulls me aside, he goes, yo, that dude right over there is responsible for those turntables. You make sure you bill them. I was like, what? He goes, they ain't doing this shit for free. You shouldn't have to either.
Hey.
He was looking out. Like, I never met the guy, and he was looking out for me.
Way to go.
And so I hooked up with the dude. We traded cards. I ended up billing them like $50 to rent my turntable from me for the day.
Wow.
You know, and
that's money that you would have walked away not knowing if it wasn't for Starchild.
I mean, listen,
You did it to love, to keep the show going.
So, like, I'll do it to keep the show going, because, like, especially an opportunity like that. I'm a longtime fan of Wacom. I'm a longtime fan of OG1. Like, I want the people who I respect that are involved in this thing to, like, have a good show. And so I'll do something like pull my turntables out of the trunk of my car if it means the show's going to go more smoothly. But, like, you know, a lot of hip hop artists, especially in this town, they'll take that approach of like, we got to do what we got to do to make the show happen, because that's what they're used to. And when you get to a certain level, you know, and there's money involved, you know, you have to look out for yourself. And that was the real lesson. That was the real lesson
I'm
that
glad you mentioned
Starchild
that.
taught me.
A lot of the younger, you know, kids around town, they do shows for drink tickets or pay to be on stage, and I understand that's part of being a performer. I get that, but that's very important that you express the fact that we do have to remember that you are an entity and you need to take care of your business as well. So
that's exactly it.
Yeah,
that's exactly
very important. Yeah.
So, you know, I've been around.
Cool story. Thank you for sharing your Starchild.
Yeah, of course, man. Like, and you know, I was bummed to hear that, you know, that he was sick and that he passed away shortly after that happened. I literally met the guy once, and I never had another opportunity to be in a room with him. So that was like right before he went, and you know, Mighty and I talk about that stuff all the time, because Mighty's been on the grind in Portland for a long time, and he knows a lot of the real movers in the hip hop community around Portland.
Yeah.
I've been a DJ for a long time, but you know, I started out doing weddings and private parties and school dances, and then I kind of, like, later on I moved into like nightclubs and bars, and I didn't really start performing on stage until, I want to say, 2011 was the first time that I opened for Sir Mix-a-Lot with Bad Habitat.
Hey, shout out to Bad Habitat.
Yeah,
hey.
Shout out to my boys Bad Habitat, man. Traffic and Drew and Nick. Like, dude, those guys. So those guys hit me up. So Drew and I had the same comic book guy.
Drew, and he's the big comic book. He got a great job doing comic book reviews I've seen recently.
Yeah. So,
hey, one of the guys from Bad Habitat, why don't you guys get on the show? Why don't you guys get at me?
So
Come on.
I was a journalism major in college. My first year of college I paid for with my saxophone, and decided pretty quickly that being a music major wasn't really for me. So I switched majors to journalism, and won a couple of awards, worked for the paper for my college for a couple of years.
All right.
And so when Drew got the opportunity to apply for Screen Rant, he hit me up. It was like, yo, I want to get this job. And I'm like, well, I can get you that job, but you need to do everything I say. And he did. Drew put in the work, man. And I can only take so much credit, because at the end of the day, Drew put in the work to get that job with
You
Screen
led him
Rant.
to the water, and he drank a bunch of it. Yeah.
Drew put in the work. He made the changes I told him to make, and he did the things that I told him to do. He got that job, and he's been killing it ever since.
Have you been reading? I'm not a huge comic book fan, but I've even read a couple of the columns that he's posted or whatever. And it's all Spanish to me, I guess. But it's still well written and right in his lane. So you can pick the little pieces of Drew out of those stories when he's telling those reviews.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, that's
100% Drew.
That's 100% Drew. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that he and I talked about, was the fact that, like, as an MC, like, he's comfortable with words. He knows how to write, and he knows how to use his own voice. The only thing he's not as comfortable with is using it in that context, right? And so I just was pushing him to, like, yo, just write it like you're writing a song, but, like, just change the way you're delivering it. And I think that clicked with him because, like, honestly, man, he's been killing it. I haven't helped him since he got the job. Like, that's been all him since he got the job.
Congratulations.
So, like, you know, I'm not trying to take credit where like it don't belong. Like, that's all him. But he's been killing it. But the thing is, like, he's the one that put me on stage with Sir Mix-a-Lot because their DJ was out of town for something, and they needed a DJ to jump on stage because they wanted to. They've always done a 4-piece thing.
Okay.
And this was before they hooked up with Andy. So. You know, so like I've been around Portland hip hop a little bit at this point. Like I've been around for a while, but at the beginning for me, like I didn't really know who a lot of people were. I hadn't met a lot of people. I hadn't played a lot of venues yet. I mostly had played bars and clubs and just been, you know, focused on being a DJ. And then moving into hip hop is where I got to kind of scratch a whole different itch. Sorry about the pun.
Moving into like the last like 5 minutes of the show here, man.
Yeah.
I always did like to get, you've given a pretty good introspective on your travels through Portland hip hop. You watch the Portland hip hop scene, I take it from bird's eye view like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say to the city, the scene, our culture here in Portland before we take off?
Actually, yes and no. I mean, well, all right. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna work this into the gift that I brought for you.
Okay.
You remember I mentioned at the beginning I brought you something.
Oh snap! I heard it. Forgot. But yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
No.
Yeah,
I brought you
right.
something. So here's what I would say to the Portland hip hop scene, especially the young cats. You know, it's important to grind. It's important to put in the work, but it's also important to chill out sometimes and let your work breathe. You know what I mean? Like, if you got a YouTube channel, for example, and you're putting out 5 videos a day, you're spinning your wheels. You would do just as much traffic putting out 1 video a day and spending that extra time promoting and letting people know that you're putting out 1 video a day.
There you go.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like, you know, working hard and grinding is important, but like chilling out sometimes is also really important. I want to actually share with you how I chill out.
Okay.
When I'm like heavy into creative and like trying to pump out either new videos for my YouTube channel, doing streams on my Twitch, or if I'm working with Mighty on something where we're doing shows and whatnot. Okay. The best way I found, because I know there's a lot of folks that smoke to kind of help them relax and whatnot, or for whatever reason they smoke. Personally, I've never been a smoker. I've just never gotten into it. I mean, hell, I was a writer in college, bro. All my friends smoke, all of them. But like for whatever reason, I just never lit up. So what I found was I like to put on some of that like lo-fi hip hop, right?
Yeah.
And then I do something that keeps my hands busy and my mind busy, but also forces me to sort of like take a break from everything. And so that's what I actually brought you today.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited. Oh no!
I am a huge Lego nerd, bro. Oh, I am a massive Lego nerd, and
oh my goodness.
And here's why. I'm gonna tell you why. This is not a toy for me. This is a tool. This is a tool that, as an adult, has helped me relax. It's forced me to center myself. Take a couple hours, just a couple hours. Turn off like the Netflix and the YouTube and the HBO and all that stuff. Like, just focus on this. Sometimes I'll do it on stream. Most times I just do it for myself. Like, I don't even want to stream it because like I don't want it to be a part of work. I want it to be a way for me to relax.
This is a really unique gift. I think you unknowingly, I have really busy hands. I'm always fidgeting with something, playing with buttons.
Telling you, man. Develop a Lego habit. It's a lot better for your lungs.
Thank you very much, man. That was great. I can't, I'm speechless. Thank you.
But for real, man, that's for you. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to, I mean, light up if you light up. Like do it. Like, have a drink if you have a drink. Whatever you do to kind of curb the anxiety, get your anxiety as low as you can. Just chill out. Put on some lo-fi hip hop. Put on just a little bit of background something, right? Mm-hmm. Don't sit in silence because that's weird. Like, we all musicians, right? Yeah, so like, like put on something. And then just focus on doing the build. These small builds, especially like this one, like, you're talking maybe an hour and a half.
It's a perfect amount of relax time for me. Yeah.
And it'll force you to focus on just doing the build. And then at the end of it, you got something dope you can throw on your shelf. And
well, it's different. I feel been put to the challenge now, folks. I think here in the next couple of days, I will post my final. I'll post a photo.
There it is.
On Facebook. I'll put it on the Instagram page so everybody can see that I did it. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. I really appreciate it, friend.
Absolutely, man.
You've been nothing but great to me every time we've had encounters.
Of
Great
course,
dude.
of course.
I look forward to working with you in the future on all kinds of good stuff. So.
Well, I mean, Mighty will be the first to tell you. I have plenty more bullshit to say on camera. So like, anytime you want to do this kind of thing, man, like, I'm super down. Or if y'all want to see more of what I'm doing, you can follow me at youtube.com or twitch.tv/DjSwitchPDX. You can also follow me at facebook.com or instagram.com/DjSwitchPDX.
And he's going to send me all those links, and I'm going to put them for you in the link below, so you'll be able to click on those and check out everything my man does here.
Yeah, we'll do that.
You're the best. I hope you enjoy your water. Thank you so much for the awesome Lego set. I'm going to see you soon. Cheers, friend.
Cheers, bro.